The Iraq War is coming to an end as of late 2007. President Bush has declared victory, and reconstruction efforts are underway. A pipeline construction site in the middle of the Iraqi desert is where Sergeant Matthews and his spotter Sergeant Isaac are dispatched. Before sending in fresh workers, they must first find out who killed all of the Americans working at the construction site. 20 hours pass with nothing occurring as the soldiers hide behind some shrubs and stones to observe the scene in the sweltering sun. Matthews starts to get impatient and believes there are no more Iraqi soldiers. He also believes that, based on the bodies that are dispersed throughout the area, the place must have been attacked by a team that fled. After accomplishing their task, Isaac points out that there are no indications of a large group passing through this area and that, given that all the workers were killed by headshots, this could have been the work of Juba, a renowned and skilled Iraqi sniper. But according to Matthews, nobody could possibly kill this many people in less than 30 seconds. After asking Isaac to stand in for him, Matthews eventually becomes impatient and descends to take a closer look at the area. Matthews taunts Isaac for not changing his scope sooner, when he complains that it is becoming hazy. But this particular scope is significant to Isaac, because it belonged to a deceased colleague. When Isaac confirms that everyone died from exact headshots, Matthews starts to believe Isaac's theory, and moves from body to body looking for signs. While Isaac begs him to flee, he moves to the center of the scene, to determine the potential direction of the gunfire. Suddenly, a shot is heard, and Matthews collapses to the ground in considerable pain in his belly. Isaac rushes down in a zigzag pattern to dodge any oncoming bullets, in his desperation to aid his friend. But just as he is about to reach Matthews, he is shot in the leg. Matthews must stay behind as Isaac runs to hide behind a crumbling wall. Matthews, who is hurt but still alive, makes contact with Isaac and instructs them to phone the base and request reinforcements. However, Isaac first notices how bad his leg wound is, and starts to stem the bleeding by tying a belt around it. The sniper had blasted the antenna, so when he grabbed his radio bag to try to contact the base, he discovered he had no signal. When Isaac cautions Matthews that the sniper will detect any movement and shot him again, Matthews ignores him and asks him to locate the assailant, so that he may aim at him. When Isaac begins to cut a hole in the wall with his knife to insert the scope, some boulders fall and cut his hand. After making another attempt to grab his firearm, Matthews collapses from blood loss. Isaac uses a blade to painfully extract the bullet from his leg, in order to avoid dying like his comrade. Then he bandages the wound before succumbing to his injuries. Later, Isaac is startled awake by an odd sound emanating from his earpiece. Isaac quickly starts reporting the issue and pleading for medical supplies. When it turns out to be a base officer, he starts to grow dubious, though, as the officer starts asking him a lot of odd questions and, most significantly, demands that he either reveal his precise location, or stand up and fire in the air, claiming that this is necessary for the helicopters to drop the supplies precisely. When Isaac points out that this is against procedure and will put him in danger, he recognizes that the man's accent is not American, and that he is speaking in a different language. This is Juba the sniper, who tried to construct a trap by hacking into the radio frequencies. When Isaac realizes it's a ruse and calls him out on it, Juba doesn't just end the call. Instead, he starts to interrogate Isaac, saying he wants to get to know him better. Isaac tries the radio once more, but it remains inoperative. When Isaac refuses to respond to Juba's ridiculous questions, Juba threatens to shoot Matthews again, which is dangerous because there's a chance he's still alive. In order to compute the bullet trajectory and determine the potential location of the target, Isaac asks Juba to go first and starts outlining the site on the dirt sniper. Juba claims to be a typical Iraqi citizen who merely wants to defend his nation. Juba requests information about Isaac's family, but Isaac objects that it is too private. Isaac then mocks Juba's justification, saying that by bringing in schools, pipelines, and other infrastructures that will strengthen the local economy, he is essentially killing the people who are trying to improve the nation. Juba laughs at this and says that later the money generated here would be sent back to the USA. Juba keeps prodding Isaac with inquiries as time goes on, but Isaac refuses to divulge any private information, prompting Juba to once more threaten to shoot Matthews. Isaac, though, is no longer convinced by him. Juba, citing Matthews' earlier taunt, tells Isaac the name of the previous owner of the scope, and that he is deceased to demonstrate his threat. This implies that since their arrival, Juba has been listening in on their chats. Isaac drags one of the dead men's bodies to the edge of the wall, after noticing through his scope that one of them had a radio with him. However, not even with the aid of a piece of wood would he be able to reach it, without coming into contact with the living. Next, Isaac tries to sip some water from his bottle but discovers that it is empty due to a hole that has been intentionally made in it. As Juba verifies, he also acknowledges that he did not miss any. In order to trap Isaac and cause him to slowly expire, he fired the bottle, the antenna, and Isaac's leg. He did this so he could hear the sound of Isaac's death through the communicator. When Isaac discovers the bullet he removed from his leg, he examines it more carefully and uses some cunning inquiries to determine the type of weapon Juba is using. He also refers to Juba as a terrorist, which causes Juba to chuckle once more as he emphasizes that it is the Americans who are invading illegally and with weapons ready to kill people. Isaac performs additional calculations and checks via his scope as Juba speaks, in order to come to the realization that Juba is concealed beneath a sizable heap of garbage. This man is undoubtedly a professional, because he has worked in these demanding circumstances for a considerable amount of time, and has also endured the intense heat. Juba, though, asserts once more that he is an ordinary Iraqi man, and denies being the renowned sniper. Isaac assumes Juba is a former U.S. Army officer, who betrayed them based on his accent. But Juba dismisses this as well and says he only kills individuals who attack him first. In exchange, Isaac tells the tale of how he first met his childhood best buddy, and how the two of them eventually enlisted as adults. Isaac soon experiences the harsh effects of dehydration and exhaustion and collapses to the ground, as Juba threatens to staple his tongue to his chest. Next, Isaac tries to deceive Juba by covering his gun with a jacket and helmet and waving it above the wall, but Juba is not duped. Isaac can no longer shield his head because the helmet has fallen, and is now on the opposite side of the wall. The sniping point is such a careless error, and it makes him cry. As more time goes by, Isaac's desperation grows to the point that he tries to take a chance. He rushes towards a body on the ground, snatches his backpack and radio, and then retreats to the wall. While dodging all the shots Juba fires at him right away, Isaac promptly consumes the water and chocolates he discovers in the bag. But sadly, the radio is also inoperable. Additionally, Juba chastises him for taking this risk by shooting at the wall and seriously harming his scoper. Isaac detects a noise from his earpiece and realizes it is Matthews, who is still alive. At that moment, Matthews pulls out a piece of metal to use as a tool to use, in order to look at the mound of trash as soon as Isaac yells the location of the sniper at him. Isaac keeps the sniper distracted by engaging in small talk, as Matthews goes incredibly slowly to get his rifle, and he discovers that Juba was once a teacher in Baghdad. He made the decision to exact retribution when his students were killed during an American strike. The remains of said school are what Isaac is hiding behind. Then, while still toting the broken scope, Juba asks Isaac a question. When Isaac declines to respond, Juba threatens to reshoot Matthews. In a last-ditch effort to save him, Isaac admits that he retains the scope in honor of his old friend, who passed away as a result of a mistake Isaac made, and that he still feels bad about it. While Isaac fires to make it appear as though the noise is coming from him, Matthews positions his weapon and points it blindly towards the garbage pile. He then shoots at it with all the ammunition he has. Juba unexpectedly shoots Matthews back, striking him square in the shoulder as he prepares to reload. Isaac instructs Matthews to crawl towards him, so they can both hide behind the wall. But when Isaac approaches the edge to assist, Juba accidentally shoots Matthews in the head. After having to witness his demise, Isaac suddenly collapses and declares that he just wants to go home. Isaac is doubtful when Juba says that if he truly wants to leave, he won't shoot him. Later, Juba queries Isaac about his continued presence there, despite the war's conclusion. After pausing for a second, Isaac responds that he is there because he killed his old friend. It turns out that when attempting to kill an enemy, he accidentally shot his prior sniper partner, and Isaac has been lying to everyone by claiming that his comrade was murdered by the bad guys. Isaac runs to check the signal, when he hears some noise coming from the radio, and is delighted to hear discussions taking place. His joy, however, is fleeting because despite being able to hear voices, he is unable to send any messages, due to the harm the radio sustained. To Isaac's surprise, Juba enters the conversation he is hearing, and the guy calls on Isaac for assistance. Isaac finally finds that Juba has been hacking American communications for the entire time, posing as a soldier in need of assistance, to draw backup squads to the location, murder them all quickly due to the element of surprise. Isaac unsuccessfully attempts to break up the chat. Later, Isaac awakens to the agonizing sensation of a crow picking at the incision on his thigh. Given that even the birds believe Matthews is already dead, Isaac decides to take a chance and use some rope and a stick to fetch Matthews' weapon, before firing it towards the trash heap. Helicopters show up in the region at that precise moment, and announce Isaac's location without realizing this is a trap. Isaac knocks the wall down, in an effort to protect the approaching soldiers, but in doing so, he creates a dust mist that makes it difficult for Juba to find Isaac. Without first knowing if he has struck his target or not, Isaac starts shooting at the rubbish heap. When Isaac finally decides to get up from his position to find out, he is astonished to see Juba passing up the opportunity to retaliate. Because of this, Isaac thinks he has successfully murdered Juba. As soon as the helicopters start to approach, they hastily transport Isaac away on a stretcher and begin to treat him. Isaac tries to inform them about Juba, but the noise from the helicopters lifting off prevents him from being heard. Juba suddenly opens fire on them, first killing the medical soldiers one by one before hitting the pilot. Isaac is killed instantly. when the chopper suddenly descends and falls to the ground, allowing Juba to remain true to his claim that Isaac had not actually been shot. Then Juba breaches American lines once more, while posing as an American soldier to seduce his newest group of captives. The end. If you like this story, please subscribe to the channel and like it, to motivate me to bring you more stories like this.